Hello, Aquarius. Hello, Aquarius. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress of Astrology, a look inside. And I'm here to do your October 2018 horoscope reading for Aquarius. And you know, it's so funny. I didn't do the readings in order, and I kind of left it up to chance who was going to be my last reading for the month, and it was between Aquarius and Sag, and you know, you guys are not the last one, so that's good. I always feel like whoever's the last one gets like the essence of me, but really the life and spark of me has gone. You know, you do these for hours, and so you lose a little bit of your spark by the time you're at number 11 or 12. But I think I've got a little bit of fire in here for you and some information because, you know, Aquarius, I actually vibrate to the chart of an Aquarius. I have Capricorn rising, and I am a Capricorn. But the way my chart is set up is that I have Aquarius intercepted in the first house. And so my chart is pretty much set up very much like an Aquarius. And I often read the Aquarius horoscopes because it tells me a lot about what's going on with me, and hopefully whatever it is that I pick up today and whatever I provide to you is going to go out to whoever needs to hear it. And I am an intuitive astrologer, a Western intuitive astrologer, which just means I read from feelings and emotions, and that's what I'm going to do for you. Okay, now I'm going to say that, you know, for the most part, Aquarius, you know, Mars is in the first house of Aquarius, you know, solar first house of Aquarius. So Mars has been there for a little while, and it could be that you guys come off a little harsh or a little brash in, you know, just in your delivery, just in your persona, just in what you exude. People might feel like you come off a little harsh or a little hard, you know, pushy. And that's hard to get away from when Mars is transiting the first house. How do you get away from that when it's the essence of you? And right now, Lilith is also transiting your first house. It's in Scorpio, and actually in the beginning of the month of October, Lilith and Mars are going to be conjunct in your first house. So I can see where you could get upset about something, and there could be an issue. Just be aware that you've got like this fiery power in the first house right now. Like this Mars is going to go from 5 degrees to 21 degrees all in the month of October. So, and you know, the crazy thing is October, for the most part, is going to be up until the 23rd. The sun is trining Aquarius. So, because it's going to be in Libra. And so, you know, you're going to have a lot of emphasis with your personality. And what I'm thinking is, because there is so much emphasis in Libra, and just be careful about, because that's your solar ninth house, be careful about causes and, you know, arguing over things like religion and politics and all the stupid memes you see on Facebook. Don't argue over those, okay? It's just not worth it. You know, it's just not. And definitely don't do anything Lilith would do in the month of October, since she's in your first house. And I can see you doing something really not nice, you know, and it's not a good time not to be nice. And it's really not a good time for you to not be nice, because you got Pluto and Saturn in the 12th house. You got Pluto, power, hidden power. You might be trying to do things, or you might be tempted to do things, or someone might be tempted to do them against you, where it's affecting the power, you know, your power, your internal power is there. And I would hope nothing would be affecting you or your power in the month of October. But it is in the solar 12th house, and so is Saturn. And you know, Saturn is in Capricorn, in that solar 12th house, but it's gearing up to go into Aquarius. Aquarius, y'all need to make sure you get your get everything in order, because Saturn is the great teacher and the great taskmaster. And right now it's in the 12th house, preparing you on the spiritual level for what is to come. And, with Saturn in the 12th house and Pluto in the 12th house, you have a really deep inner spiritual life, like really deeply. And, you may feel a little sadness because you might feel alone, that I don't know why I thought about a person, among a million people, but they still feel completely alone. And that Saturn and Pluto in the 12th house can really indicate that aloneness. You might even pull in purposely for alone time and privacy, and because there's power in your thoughts, there's power in your privacy, like what you do in your private hours. You may come up with great ideas and business plans that you can implement at a later time, but wherever Saturn is, it's working, okay? And Saturn is in Capricorn, and it loves to work in Capricorn, but that is your solar 12th house. So it's working, but it's working on a psychological level. It's working on your deep inner recesses of your mind, of your subconscious mind. You're working on that. You are digging in there and investigating yourself and others. You are looking into the deeper, darker realms of this life, and you are, hopefully finding the higher learning and the secrets that you really want to learn, because there is a great deal of secrecy connected to the 12th house, but with Pluto and Saturn there's power there. And I think this is further emphasized by the way this digging, searching feeling is, because, although the month starts out with the Sun, Mercury, and in Libra, and Venus is actually going to retrograde back from Scorpio into Venus. But, these planets the emphasis is really going to be a lot on Scorpio. I mean, Scorpio is going to be very prevalent in your chart, especially near the end of the month, where, the Sun goes into Scorpio and all the other planets go into Scorpio. But, we're dealing with the Sun up in the 9th house of higher learning, and Mercury there. You want to know the hidden mysteries of the universe. You really do. You want to know. You want knowledge. You want information. You want to know. And you, I think, are in a position to even communicate that back to others, because really the Mercury is one of your highest elevated planets this month, that along with the Sun and Venus. They're kind of jockeying for whose high is up in the sky for you, and they're affecting your 9th house and 10th house, up there, and Jupiter's already in your solar 10th house. So it's a very positive thing, I think, to have this kind of investigating, deep thinking, inner search thing going on. I think that's what's going on with you guys. Now, I do believe that your personality with Lilith, your very hard-hitting personality, I think that is going to offset something with your career. And the reason I say that is because, it starts off in Libra. That's very positive. It's a trine to that Mars, usually with, Sun, and then Mercury, and then and Venus is going to retrograde back into that. That's publishing. That's international information. That's just information in general, and also education. So you could be studying, you could be teaching, you could be learning, you could be traveling. The education is big, religion is big, philosophies. Just sitting around talking about astrology, just like we're doing right now. This is really something indicated for the month of October. And then it goes into Scorpio, where it really wants to be more of the investigator and dig into the deeper mysteries of life. But it's up in the 10th house. So it just shows that that's what your reputation is going to be. Like, people are going to think of you as that investigative, maybe even that investigative astrologer. I could see that happening. But with that emphasis up in your 10th house, the career in general is going to be highlighted. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on your career and getting ahead in life right now. And I can see where this is going to be something vital to you. And I hope that something good will come from your career, because there's so much emphasis on your reputation, on your career, on your image, on the ambitions and the things that you're building, for your posterity. And so I hope whatever you're doing is positive and it's uplifting and it's benefiting to others, and that it, leaves a very long lasting impression, because I think that you may be getting some messages from deeper inner places, because Aquariuses tend to do that. Now, there is some emphasis in your second house, though. Neptune is in Pisces in your second house. So your money situation may not be all that great, and it may be a little bit confusing and even a little misleading. And Chiron is also there in that second house. So that can also be a pain and just like painful. And it's just an area where you need to heal. But with Chiron moving into that second house, I feel like it's going to give you that opportunity to heal. Heal that area of money. Like if you've got a pain from your past or your childhood with money, now is the time to heal that. Uranus is going to make a quick trek through the 4th house, and so it could wreak havoc in your home life. But it's just going to be certain things. Just watch out for crazy little things like electrical things, and make sure you turn all the lights off and all that kind of stuff, and stay on top of that. The North Node makes a quick trek into the 7th house. It's actually about to go out of the 7th house, and it's retrograding into it's going to retrograde into your 6th house soon, because it's in Leo, okay, but it's going to retrograde out of Leo. It goes from 2 degrees to 0 degrees of Leo, and it's going to go back into Cancer soon. So right now, there is a little emphasis on your 7th house of your partnerships, but really that emphasis is moving towards your work. It's all going to be about your work and how empathetic and caring and how much emotion and intensity that you can give and show to others in your work. Okay, so this has been the general reading that I did for you Aquariuses for the month of October. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to discuss the astrological events. I better keep this. Astrological events as they affect Aquarius in the month of October. I'm going to go through this in quick succession. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what the aspects are, and then I'm going to tell you what I think how it's going to affect you, hopefully, and we'll go through that so we do not miss a thing for the month of October. Okay, so on the 2nd of October, the sun is going to be square the moon. The sun is going to be in Libra, but the moon is going to be in Cancer, and that is going to create a square, which is stressful. Now, this sun is going to be up in your solar 9th house of big business, like publishing and international business and international travel and general religion, philosophy, dogma, all of that. But this is all going to be squaring the area where your 6th house. So that's work, and it could be your health too. So be careful of if travel could affect your work or your health or something like that. So be aware of that day. On the 3rd of October, Mercury squares Pluto. And Mercury is going to be in the sign of Libra at that time. And it's, that's the 9th house, as I mentioned, and all the things that have to do with legal things and law and politics and all of the dogma. I always think of dogma when I think of the 9th house. But, there's going to be a square to Pluto, and Pluto's in the 12th house, your solar 12th house in Capricorn. So you might have some strong opinions that day. You know, don't get obsessed with things that day. And you don't need to be right about everything. Just remember that. There's no need for that. On the 5th, Venus retrogrades in Scorpio at 10 degrees. And when Venus goes retrograde on the 5th, it's going to retrograde in your solar 10th house, which is your career. And it's going to be making a backward track into your 9th house. So, you know, Venus in the 10th house is always a very positive thing. And, you know, with it retrograding, I'm hoping nothing not positive happens, because it's just not a good time to start anything, especially relationships or marriages or anything, when Venus is retrograding. On October 7th, Saturn is in conjunct the true node or north node. And Saturn's at 3 degrees of Capricorn. The north node's at 3 degrees of Leo. That Leo is happening in your 7th house. That's your 7th house of partnerships. And, you know, Saturn's in your 12th house. And so I could see how something you do in secret could, you know, affect your partnership in some way. Please be aware that this is a possibility. On the 8th of October, the new moon is in Libra. New moon in Libra at 15 degrees. And that new moon is going to give us a time to work on our relationships in general. But in your case, it's going to be working on things like long distance travel and education and politics and, you know, religion and law and all of those things that have to do with legal things and higher learning. That's where the emphasis is going to be when, you know, we get this new moon in Libra. So there's going to be some deep conversations coming up on the 9th of October, by the way, because Mercury's going to go into Scorpio. And that's going to be in your solar 10th house. It's a lot of emphasis on your career this month. It's a lot of emphasis on your career. And this is really going to bring that there, because Mercury's going to be there. So you're going to be thinking about it, talking about it, and it's going to be there for 3 weeks, okay? So on October 9th, October 10th, Mars squares Venus, and Mars is in your first house, and Venus is up in your 10th house. So something about your personality could create some kind of tension or something with your career. Just be aware of that Mars-Venus square. That's on the 10th of October. Because it could indicate like some power struggles with authority figures, since we're dealing with your personality and your career house. And I would hate to see you have to go through something like that, because it's not necessary. Really, it's not. And then on the 15th, Mercury in Scorpio is conjunct Venus in Scorpio. So more emphasis on the 10th house, more emphasis on your career, more emphasis on Scorpio, which is, you know, digging and investigating into things and looking into things and getting to the bottom of things. And I could see you really working on that in the middle of October. On the 19th of October, Mercury trines Neptune, but it's squaring Mars. And that Mercury is going to be in Scorpio, and Neptune's in Pisces. So that's the 10th house in your second house. But that square to Mars is your first house. It's you. Somehow, you know, even though the money and the career are flowing, somehow you, I don't know if you got foot and mouth disease that day or what, but just be careful, because it just means like you might be communicating, and it might be that you're doing something creative, but it could be that you just get on someone's last nerve, an argument starts, it could get ugly. That's the 19th. Please be aware of that day. On October 23rd, the sun goes into Scorpio. So now there's really more emphasis in that 10th house, because it's going from the 9th house of, you know, of big business and publishing and all that. It's going into your career and really into your reputation house. And so it's going to have all the emphasis there at that point. And that's like, you'll be able to heal your career and heal, just heal the problems that you've had with your career. You'll be emotional when it comes to your career, and but hopefully you'll be able to heal. what's been wrong with that. On the 24th, there's going to be a full moon in Taurus, and that's opposing that Scorpio. Can you believe this? That is in Taurus the very next day. Yeah, believe it or not. So that full moon is an indication of like completions and transformation, because that Taurus down there, that's going to be your solar fourth house. And so I could see where, your career and your home life are going to be at odds with each other. And so be aware of that. Some changes could happen. It's all going to happen near your Uranus that's transiting down there too. So wow, it's going to be major. On the 26th of October, the Sun is in Scorpio and it's conjunct Venus in Scorpio. And that Sun in Scorpio and Venus in Scorpio, all up in your career, it's all intense. But Venus and the Sun are both fairly positive. And even though they're square, Aquarius in general, I think that hopefully there should be something positive happening in career, and that it wouldn't be a negative thing, because it will be intense. So be aware of that. Whatever happens in your career is going to be pretty intense in the month of October, especially on that, around the 26th or so. On the 29th, the Sun in Scorpio is trine the Moon in Cancer. And so the Sun is going to be up in the 10th house, and the Moon's going to be over in the solar 6th house. So if you've been doing something with your work and it's just not working for you or making you a profit, then stop doing it. Let it go. And if you're doing anything that's affecting your health in a negative way, let it go. Make sure you get rid of the bad habits that are really kind of tripping you up along the way. This would be the time to get rid of that kind of thing. On the 30th of October, Mercury is entering into Sagittarius, and that's sextile. Aquarius, Sagittarius in 11th house of friends and hopes and dreams and wishes and groups and associations and causes that you believe in. I mean, once Mercury goes there, you'll be thinking about big things. You might have some really big ideas. Just make sure you go over all those details and, before you implement anything. And then on the last day of the month, October 31st, Venus leaves Scorpio. It goes into Libra because it's retrograding into Libra. And love is going to be on the mind of a lot of people. Instead of it being, so intense and dark and heavy, it'll become lighter, and hopefully you'll get some solutions and work out the problems that you might have experienced with that, with Venus. And on October 31st, Venus is opposition Uranus that day. So it is an opportunity for something crazy to happen. Please be aware of that. It's going to really be teetering between your career and your home life. But, just the idea that something crazy at home could really affect something at your job or your work or your career or something like that. So be aware that this is a possibility. Okay, Aquarius. Well, this has been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure doing the readings for Aquarius because I love you, Aquarius. Aquarius, rock. You're awesome, you're wonderful people, and I have Aquarius in my first house, so I'm Aquarius a little bit. So I love Aquarius. Anyway, I just want to wish all of you much love, much light, many blessings. Happy Halloween. I hope you have a great October and have good times with your friends and all of that stuff out there, and really work on your career because there's going to be a lot going on with your career in the month of October. Let's hope you make some of those dreams and career ideas. Let's hope you make some of those things real. I'm hoping rooting for you, Aquarius. Okay, well, this has been Capricorntigress. Much love and light to you. Have a good one. Happy October.